You're off the clock with Trish and Steve. Hey, Steve Bose.
Hey, Trish, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Happy Juneteenth.
Yes, it is Juneteenth observed. Yesterday was June 19th. That is correct.
I
Well spotted.
know it's observed today, and it's interesting. I was reading a lot more about it. I didn't know as much as I wanted to know about it. And did you realize that this has been celebrated since 1865 in
Mm-hmm.
Texas?
That was the origin, right, of the observance. Yeah.
And I want to say, I'm surprised I didn't know that. And I wondered if you knew that or had learned, because years ago we had gone to a leadership training at Gettysburg,
Mm-hmm.
where not only did we learn about the Battle of Gettysburg, but we learned all about the Civil War, about the Emancipation Proclamation, like all these things. And yet that didn't come up, or at least I don't remember it. Do you remember that?
I don't specifically. That was quite a while ago. In my defense, but
Yeah, it's been about maybe 12 years ago that we did
yeah.
that, I think, where we went there and learned that. But anyway, so I was a little disappointed that I didn't know more about it up until recently. So anyway, happy Juneteenth to everyone out there. Hopefully you are using today to learn more about it if you don't know about it. And then for those who, of course, are do know about it, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, and it's becoming more of an observed day with more businesses closing. I know there's it's a federal holiday now, which is only a thing I think just starting last year,
2 years.
or maybe two
Yeah,
years
okay.
ago. Okay, with President Biden, I think made that happen, and so yeah, so I think a lot of people have learned more about it just in the last couple of years, including myself. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's interesting though. How many other days that are celebrated, very important things, do we not all collectively know about? I mean, I'm sure
Mhm.
it's many more, right? Just
Yeah,
with each
yeah,
state
this
kind of
one's
doing different celebrations.
slightly different than that, but similar-ish. I saw this thing over the weekend, uh, sort of a meme thing on the internet, and someone
Right.
had posted like a list of all these landmarks and famous places, historical places, et cetera, in the U.S. And there was probably 25 or 30 of them, something like that. And things like the Statue of Liberty, Golden
Mhm.
Gate Bridge, Liberty Bell, the Alamo. I don't know if you saw this or not. It's about 25 to 30 things. And this person claimed, I'm not sure what the source of the claim was, that the average American had only been to 5 of these places, like 5 of these
Really?
25 to 30 kind of really famous sites. And so, of course, what do you do? Naturally, you look at the list if you're so inclined like I was and say, well, how many have I been to? Have I, physically been to? And I was like 19 or 20. I was,
Oh, really?
yeah, quite a lot of them. And I imagine you would too. You've traveled a lot in this country. So
Right.
things like the Space Needle, Times Square
Oh,
were
yeah.
on there. I think maybe the Gateway Arch was on there, right, in St. Louis, right? So it was
I've
those
been there.
kinds of things. Yeah. So I'd been to many of them, but I didn't know. I guess I don't know. I guess some folks don't travel as much. I know I guess have traveled more than probably the average person in the last 15 years or so.
Yeah, I think that's interesting, too. Just if you're someone that travels for work, you take it for granted at some point. And in fact, I think pre-pandemic, we were probably in the camp of, okay, enough work travel, right? We're traveling too much. You're on the road too much. And is that in itself is work? It's very
Yeah.
draining. It's very, you know, uh, I don't know, just emotionally, physically, socially draining, right?
I have
Financially
to tell you,
draining.
I was ready to cut back on the business travel for sure. And then
Yeah.
pandemic hits, which of course everything cut back. And I'm not super stoked about diving back into as much travel as there used to be
Right.
either. So, I mean, obviously there's going to be some business travel. There has been. I haven't
Mhm.
completely stopped traveling, but I don't think I want to travel as much as I used to probably, especially because, right, we tend to go to the same cities over and over again.
That's
Right.
true.
Right. I love Las Vegas. I do. I don't mind going. I don't want to go 6 times a year probably
Right.
anymore. Right. Just once or twice is fine.
Well, I wonder too, I was thinking a little bit about, I mean, I don't mind going to a big event maybe once or twice a year, but we were going to a lot. And so I'm starting to feel like I wish we could go back to some of those smaller gatherings where it's just like 30 people, 50 people, getting together where you actually get to know people. It's more impactful that way. You walk away with some real, not just like sort of casual connections, but solid connections that stick with you longer, I
I will.
think, and make a
Yeah.
bigger impact. I don't know. I mean, I kind of miss that more than I miss the large,
Yeah.
large events.
I
I feel
will
like the
say
large
this.
events are coming back, but
I will say this: if some company or some association or some event wants to invite me back to Park City, Utah, to stay at the Stein Erickson Lodge, I will attend that. I will go to.
really? So,
Yes.
okay, this is funny. I've never been in Utah other than like a plane touchdown and right back out. Never been to Utah. One of my states I still have
Lovely,
to or
lovely
get to.
place.
So, all
Trish,
right.
I have
Well,
something for you I wanted to bring
yeah.
to your attention.
Okay.
Trish, I want you to be aware, if you check your basement, your attic, your closets, just as
Okay.
you're cleaning or organizing or looking around, Trish.
I'm doing that right now.
They're here, so good. So be mindful, because Trish,
Okay.
in the news today, I heard a VHS tape, Trish,
I'm
of the
writing it
movie
down.
Back to the Future was sold at auction for a record $75,000. Trish, original VHS tape Back to the Future was sealed in plastic, so it had never been played or opened.
Mm,
Sort of like those
okay.
collectible toys, right, that lose all their
Right.
value if the box is open. 75K at auction. How about that?
I'll tell you what.
Everybody's got old VHS tapes lying around, right? Maybe, or some people do.
It's funny you mentioned that actually. Number one, that's ridiculous. I don't care what it is. Like, that's ridiculous, right? And unless that's something you're going to put in some sort of a museum to like keep, I don't even know why would you want that. But
Yeah, good question. I don't know.
so
But someone did.
I'm getting ready to put my house on the market. And so I spent a lot of days actually, but yesterday kind of in the garage going through the last of my, big Rubbermaid bins. We all have those, right? I have Rubbermaid bins. Let me tell you, I've lived here 5.5 years. I have them that haven't even unpacked from that move, let alone but
So it's
anyway,
vacant.
one of the bins, I popped it open and I closed it right back up. It was all VHS tapes.
All right. Well, maybe take a quick thumb through. If you have any that are still sealed up, for sure,
I
there might
do,
be
but
some
I
value
think
there.
they're like movies that people would not be interested in,
Oh, well,
probably.
you never know.
I will check it out. Maybe I'll report back. Let me see which ones I have sealed.
Yeah,
Same way with
maybe.
like DVDs, right? I have more DVDs and I don't even have a DVD player anymore. I need to figure out like who's going to come buy this. Can I even put it like on Facebook for like $25 and someone will be like, "I'll
Yeah, I'm
take your
not sure.
whole set of DVDs."
I did realize a little while back that I had no mechanism in my possession any longer to play either a CD or a DVD. So they're useless to me. I have no means of uh, playing them
CDs are the same
in
way. I mean, you
any
might
place.
find people that have the players in their car still. Mine doesn't, but
Yeah.
I think my daughter has them in her car. Maybe I could go sit in her car and just have like a little CD party,
That
listen to them.
sounds awful, but yeah, do that.
You know what though? It's like everything it just passes you by, right? And you get new technology and new ways. Like, when you want a movie now, you just go on Netflix or Prime or whatever, or you rent it online, right?
Speaking of movies, Trish, since the last time I think, did one of these little broadcasts here, I did finally go see Top Gun Maverick.
Did
Saw it
you?
a few
Okay,
days
what'd you
ago.
think?
Yeah, it was
You're a Tom
outstanding.
Cruise fan.
I am a big Tom Cruise fan. I loved it. Most people do love it. Highly recommend it. I would say my one tiny little knock, if there was one, was I
Ooh.
think they tried maybe a little too hard to replicate some of the details and the beats of the first one, like maybe a little too hard, like to replicate like the
Like
same
what?
song. They played the same song in the bar on the piano, that they had in the first movie. They had some very similar kind of just imaging and scenes and kind of cinematography was similar from time to time, Trish. So other than that, but I didn't mind it that much. Love the
That's the
movie.
part I liked.
Yeah, I would highly recommend.
Yeah, like when I went to see it, when it first starts, right? It's the same music as the original. It's the same kind of scene as the original. You literally, and honestly, when I went, I was sitting next to some teenage boy. I don't know if I told you this. There was like a teenage boy in his
I'm
family.
sure you're
I
allowed to do
swear to
that.
you,
Okay.
I think he was wearing like Ralph Lauren polo cologne because I felt all of a sudden like I was like 16 back at the movie theater watching the original. Because I probably went on a date, with some boy that had Polo cologne on, I'm sure.
Ah,
So,
okay.
what cologne did you wear in high school? Did you have
I didn't.
what was
No,
your go-to?
I didn't. I was never a cologne person back
Really?
then or since. No, I find that very
Okay.
weird.
PSA right now, men and teenage men, boys, guys, wear cologne. Women love cologne.
Really?
Like that's like your signature scent. It has
Uh,
to be like a signature scent.
Make a note of that. Trish, I have
Make a
one
note.
more for you, real quick. I wanted to say this before the
All
news
right.
item gets stale, and this is
Okay.
interesting, I think, to you because you're interested in both of these fine organizations, Trish. I don't know if you caught the news late last week, Trish. TikTok, which I know you are a fan of, an aficionado, a user,
I
apparently.
am.
TikTok, we've talked about that on the show. TikTok, Trish, has responded to user data privacy concerns,
Oh.
primarily for US user data being visible to people who work for the company that owns TikTok who are in China. Trish, TikTok has now announced that all US user data, and assuming that means all your videos that you upload and your
Mhm.
likes and all the things you watch, et cetera, all US user data will be hosted, Trish, in the USA on Oracle Cloud servers, all servers located in the
Wow.
USA, as an announcement late last week. That's pretty big news, actually. I don't mean to say that lightly. That's very big news for TikTok. It's very big news for Oracle, I'd imagine, too. I got to believe that's a significant amount of data and probably a pretty nice contract. So good for them, and
Yeah.
hopefully good for folks who care about security of data on TikTok.
I love that. And it would be interesting. Maybe our friend Chris Leone over at Oracle, maybe we could talk to him about that. And also our friend Roland Cloutier, who was one of both gentlemen, some of the favorite all-time guests on the podcast. But Roland is I think he's the head of data
I
security
believe
at
he is
TikTok.
the chief security officer over at
Chief
TikTok.
security
Yeah,
officer. That's right. So yeah, maybe we can
perhaps
work
we
something
can
out to actually talk about that
talk to him
because
about it. Yeah.
I think that's something that worries people. You want to use these websites and these apps and share things, right? But then at what point do you lose privacy? So yeah, okay. I'm gonna make a note. Maybe we get that podcast going. That'd be interesting to follow up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, very good. Well, have a nice rest of your Monday.
You too.
If you're off work today, we are not off work, but we are. I know. When you work for yourself, you kind of just have to work when you work,
You
right?
just work when you work. You do.
You work when you work. But anyway, to everyone who does have the day off, we hope you're having a lovely day off. We will see everyone back here on Wednesday.